السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة.
كيف
عليكم
الحال؟
السلام. الله يسلمكم، كيف الأحوال؟
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Hello everyone, how are you doing?
السلام عليكم.
هلو، السلام عليكم. عليكم السلام.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة
وعليكم
الله.
السلام ورحمة.
Hi everyone. Should we start or wait a little for more participants to join?
السلام عليكم everyone. I think we can start. It's recorded, so people can join later and they can review the recording if they miss anything. Thank you everyone for joining, and today we can start our Zoom meeting. Dr. Hadil will lead the meeting, and then we'll discuss agenda, and it's up to you. Hadil, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Nader. A quick revision for the agenda for this meeting. We have three topics actually that the red team should present. First of them is we have we have how to write manuscript, the discussion and conclusion part, and we have referencing, and we have interview skills and tips. Referencing part, unfortunately, we'd like to apologize as a red team. I will I will include it in the conclusion discussion part. I will give a brief review of the topic, but in the future we'll be able to present it in more details. But for now, we will start with the second part because of the electricity problem in Sudan. The part with interview skills and tips will be presented by Dr. Lina Al-Omeri. Lina, are you here? She requested to present first because of the electricity problem in Sudan. So I can see she's not online, so I will start presenting my part. The screen is clear for you?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes.
Okay, then I start with this part, how to write a manuscript, discussion and conclusion part. First, a quick review of the content of the manuscript. as we know, there's title, abstract, introduction part, method and materials, result, discussion, conclusion and recommendation are references. But this content is usually, this is the general theme of the content, but sometimes it differs according to the guidelines of the specific journals. When we come to the purpose from the discussion section, we can see the main feature of the discussion section is to transferring the data and our result into comprehensible knowledge or understandable knowledge. There are some guidelines writing the discussion part, but generally there is freedom. And as we know, with freedom, there usually arise challenges. Because you have freedom as an author or as a researcher to write your own idea, but you need to to make them based on actual data. So that's could be very challenging. So the main elements of the discussion section are the result. Your result from of the research should be written in a clear way, explain them linguistically, and highlight the new knowledge that you reach through your research. The second part, you should relate this result to your to the literature review and compare them to what is known to the current knowledge that is published, or even sometimes some author can relate to unpublished work. Also, you should highlight in the discussion section, you should highlight the gaps, the gaps in your research, the limitations that you face during execution of the research, and you should highlight the gaps in the current knowledge in the field, and also you should establish the road for the future direction by emphasizing the questions. You can create the new questions, research questions in the discussion part section. When we come to steps of writing, we have first of all, general advice, we should review the journal guidelines if possible to meet their expectation. Then when we start writing, we should restate the overall objective and purpose of the study, write clear statement of the principal findings and result with explanation, and describe how the results are related to the objectives. Explanation must be supported by the result of the data analysis. We can continue the steps of the writing discussion. We should discuss the implication and the importance of the findings realistically based on the previous literature. So in this part, we compare what we have, what we reach from the data analysis of our research, and compare it and relate it to what is known in the literature in the specific field of the study. Highlight both the strengths and the limitation of the research. We will explain this part further. And then we should introduce new or expanded way to think about the research question, how further researches can pursue unresolved questions. Overall, we should be concise when writing the research discussion part because unnecessary details can distract from the main findings. So here's an example for introductory statement to make the things more clear. Like for instance, this is a study about depression among pregnant women. So the introductory statement in the discussion part was our study adds the spares to the space literature about depression during pregnancy among multi-ethnic population. We found that depression in pregnancy, defined as an Edinburgh postnatal depression scale score more than 10, was twice as prevalent in ethnic minority women as Western European. As we can see here is like description of the main result, of the main findings that they reach from the data analysis. So we can go to other example to explain how we can compare our result to the literature. From the same research, the author wrote, our findings are in accordance with a recent Cochrane meta-analysis of 21 studies. He put the number indicating the reference, which reported that the prevalence of depression in pregnancy ranged from 7.4% in the first trimester to 12.8% in the second trimester, and so on. So here he compared. Here he wrote about the other result from other study, and he tried to compare it with their own result. So in the second paragraph, we can see second sentence. I mean, he said. Very few studies report result stratified by ethnicity. So here he just explained the age of knowledge, the current age of knowledge in this field. There are few studies talking about ethnicity when it comes to depression among pregnant women, and so the strength of this study is it mainly work with minority or different ethnic groups. So he highlighted the strengths of his study, and he also explained the age of knowledge in the field. Okay. So now we can talk about limitation and how it should be expressed in the discussion part. So here's some of the limitation. In the start, all studies have limitation. There is no study without a limitation ever. But there are common limitations like money, workforce, and so on. We can find many authors that write this limitation. You have limitation regarding money, you have limitation about this and that, but usually we should write the specific limitation that face our own study. So we know at these times, COVID is a very big challenge for every research. So it could be written always as a limitation. The limitation could be found in research design. Like, for example, maybe you conducted a cross-sectional research design, but maybe to achieve your objective, maybe it's better to do a randomized controlled clinical trial or cohort study or so on. Also, there may be limitation in your sampling technique. For instance, maybe you choose to do a purposive sampling, but it should be like random sampling. Also, there may be a limitation or problem with the data collection. For instance, maybe you did an interview or a questionnaire, but you should support them with collecting some blood samples or something, depending on the type of your study. There may be also limitation regarding target population. For instance, maybe you have problem with, you conducted your research in an urban area, but maybe the rural area should be targeted too. So this is some examples for the limitations. So there is example for the limitation from the same study regarding depression among depression in the pregnant women. We can see the authors wrote, there are some noteworthy limitations. We did not have direct measures of social support, but relied upon indirect measures like single parenthood and family structure. So he stated here, or they state here, they have problem differentiating or to know the social background of the participant in the research. They don't have like specific indicators. And the other thing, further information about history of depression was self-reported and collected in the postpartum period. So it is like retrospective study. They ask the women after they deliver their baby about did they experience depression during their pregnancy or so. So they by subject to various recall and memory biases associated with retrospective self-report. Here is the main. Here we can come to the conclusion part. So conclusion is the final section. We should usually review the guidelines from the journal. Sometimes the journals requested that the conclusion be a part of the discussion, so it will be like at the end of the discussion, or they may request that conclusion to be like separated in different with different subtitle. Usually conclusion contain recommendations. So when we come to conclusion content, first we should briefly emphasize upon the most important and principal findings in our research. Just the most important and basic findings, not very detailed. And the other thing, we should talk about the implications, the strengths and novelty and the importance of our study. And we can recommend for future research and suggest how the research question could be approached by future research. About recommendation, it should be usually based on the result of the study. What practical steps can be taken to implement the key findings of the research study must be supported by the statistical findings from the data analysis. So sometimes people like write general recommendations. This it is not very good. We should be specific. It should be directly related to our findings. Here is an example for the conclusion or recommendation from the same study about depression during pregnancy. So the authors wrote, although Middle Eastern and South Asian women were more likely to be depressed, a low socioeconomic position partly explains their increased risk, irrespective of ethnicity, a history of depression, recent adverse life event, and poor subjective health remain independent risk factor for depression. So data also suggests that a low level of social integration may mediate the increased risk observed in ethnic minorities. However, cultural factors or other unmeasured variables may likely contribute to risk state. So in sum, our findings point to the potential for improving mental health among high-risk ethnic minority pregnant women by improving socioeconomic conditions and facilitating integration. So we can see from here, in sum, we can find like, this is the recommendation from the study. And in the first part, recommendation based on the findings from the study, they highlight the main and basic findings from their study. So this is regarding how to write conclusion and discussion parts in manuscript. If there's any questions, because I have brief review about referencing, but I would like if Lina is here. So because I know there's electricity problem in Sudan, so maybe she wants to present her part. Lina, are you here? Okay. So if you allow me, I will continue with my part, and then we're waiting for Lina to. When there's just a brief review of references. Hi, Lina.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me, Hadid?
Yes, I hear you. You would like to present your part because of the electricity problem, or?
Can you hear me, Hadid?
Yes, yes, I hear you.
Okay. Shall we continue, or?
No,
Because
you
I'm having a very bad internet connection.
You can present your part, so.
Yeah, actually, I have an internet problem, not an electricity one. Okay. I will be presenting. Okay.
Sorry?
Just a second while I connect my laptop with the Zoom.
Okay. Okay.
I want to connect my laptop to the
So meanwhile, if anyone has any question about writing the discussion part, please. Okay, Abdul Mahmoud, go ahead.
Thank you. It's a nice presentation. So my question is like, so at the end, so we see like, is study question being answered or not? Like that's what I want to know. That's at the end of my script. So we say like, okay, so if the study question like based on, for example, of any topic, whether, for example, COVID or lockdown have any impact on risk of depression or whatever. So do at the end that we say like, okay, we have to include that. The question is answered or not.
Yes, definitely, Dr. Abdul Mahmoud. You should write about the limitations that you face in your in conducting or executing your study. Mainly, it could be in the discussion part. Sometimes they wrote it in the method part. But yeah, yes, Lina. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lina. I'm afraid your voice is like interrupted. The sound is interrupted from you. So, Dr. Abdul Mahmoud, I'm sorry that I didn't answer your question fully. Yeah, you should write about COVID. You should write about any limitations that you face, but you don't need to like write too much that it seems like judging your research or like decreasing its value, because you need also to highlight the strengths of your research, how it's novel and how it's and how the research contribute to the current field of to the field of knowledge. So you write about the limitation to open the door for further research. You said like for example, our sample was like usually we work in the urban area, but we recommend about future research that conducts the same research in rural area, something like that. But the COVID, yeah, generally you should write about it. I hope this answers your question.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, you're welcome. Lina, you can start if you are ready. Your screen is clear, Lina, but we can't hear you. Yes, but the sound is weak. Okay.
I tried all the internet networks that I have at home, but I think it's issue with the where
Her voice is very distant.
I'm trying to solve the problem. Just a second.
The sound is not clear, Lina. Do you prefer that I can continue and
I'll try to solve my problem now.
okay. Okay, so Lina, I can continue referencing if you like. So maybe the technical problem will be resolved after that, okay? So we'll continue about a brief talk about referencing. There are many referencing styles. Here are some examples, like AMA, it's terminology for American Medical Association, abbreviation for American Medical Association style, and ABA is American Psychological Association. We have MLA, state for Modern Language Association System, and we have Harvard style and Vancouver style. Today I will just give a brief review about the AMA style and ABA style, because we know we are working, our most of research should be published, like our target is to publish in American journal. So we are expecting that they may request AMA or ABA. For AMA, regarding in-text citation, we should use consecutive numerical order. So they write it like in numbers. So we refer to publications or the sources like in number. I'm sorry, I have problem with PowerPoint, but this number, as you can see, should be above the word, not in on the same level, but above the last word. This is an example, like if you have more than one source, you put the comma between the source. If you have, like, you want to write the name of the author, so if you have like a work published by or done by two authors, you should write the two author name. But if the work is done by more than two authors, so you can just write the surname or the last name of the first author, and after that et al, and you write the number of the publication according to your organization or the order in your reference list, like here 3, as we can see, but it should be in the above here in the upper part of the word. So when we come to write or organizing the reference list at the end of the work of your study or your manuscript or your research, should be numbered consecutively, like 1, 2, 3, and so on. If you have a work or a reference that including more than 6 authors, then you can write the first 3 authors the first three authors' names, and then you can write it all to refer if you have like more than 7 authors in one contributing in one work, according to the AMA style. I just brought an example of a printed book, like the steps of writing in the reference list. You start with the author or the authors, as we said. If it is more than 6, you write the first 3 and then it all. You write the chapter title, the editor, then the book title, edition number, if applicable, city, state, or country of publisher name, copyright year, and pages if chapter of book. So the example here, the author name in red, you don't, of course, it should be on same color. I just added this color for clarification. Like, for example, here, the author name is Gamble VN. The chapter title was On Becoming a Physician, A Dream Not Deferred. The editor in white, EC8. The book name is The Black Women's Health Book, is Speaking for Ourselves. The city is Seattle, Washington, Seal Press, and we have the number here and the year. So when we come to referencing or citation of electronic or online book, we follow the same general format or rule, but at the end we add the URL and the access date. So as we can see here in the red, after we write in the example, after we write the same information like before, we just add the URL for the website and the date we access the website, access in May 23, 2017. For ABA style, the difference from the AMA style, in text citation, we use the last name of the authors. So the last name of the authors, for like we can see in the example, Caveron and Bervin, and then we put the comma and the year of publication, and they should be would be like in this format. So in the reference list should be arranged alphabetically by authors, not by number, like A, B, C, and so on, alphabetically. This is an example for book. As you can see, there are 3 authors here in red, and then we have the year of publication, and then the name of the research, and then the publisher, Cambridge University Press. Okay, this is what a brief review about referencing, and I will give the opportunity to Dr. Sarah Said. She wants to talk a little bit about referencing.
Thank you so much, Hadil. It was a great presentation, and I myself didn't know how the difference between the styles of AMA and APA. So thank you so much. It was very informative. I would like to share with you guys how can we put or add our document our citations. I will be sharing an example with one of our drafts. For example, this one. So this was an old document, like a draft for our research, but it's not like we build on it. So what we do, like for instance, I have this document, and can you see, guys, the other window for EndNote, or just one window?
Just one.
Just one. Okay, so allow me just to stop sharing the screen. I will share the other one. Okay, share. So I've already set my library on EndNote. It's very close to Zotero. this in terms of the concept itself. So like we don't have to start from the beginning. Like our colleagues have already explained how to set our libraries on our citation applications on our for our manuscripts. So the library is already set. Like I just named the library on the according to the topic I want to discuss, and I've saved all my documents there. And it's usually you can attach like a kind of PDF where you can read and highlight the point you want to add in your manuscript. So this is what I'm doing. Like what I did, like I found these sentences are very relevant to my topic. I just put in mind the name of the first author just to return back to him. So now we'll turn back to our Word document. So I will stop sharing this screen and jump to the other one because, okay. So in the other window, like this is my Word document, I just wrote what I understood from the highlighted text and my points, and I made sure that I paraphrase them and rephrase them in a way like to avoid plagiarism in a way that makes sense. And then I want to add this reference in my document. So I have an add-on in the Word document called EndNote X9. So I press on that, double click, and I choose Insert Citation, and again Insert Citation. Okay, seems that there's a problem with my anyway, so we go and like we click on the Insert Citation. I don't know why it didn't work in my application. I apologize for that, guys. Anyway, the process goes like then I added based on the name of the first author, like for instance, or the title. I usually choose by the name of the author. So the author's name was Beside. So like Bestdine. So I added this author. I highlighted his name. So it's automatically added. Like you just like it, you will be added as number 1 in your text and will be added as number 1 in your reference. So it will be like an automatic thing. It will be like added like number 1 in here, like an automatic thing. And from the other side, it will be added like simultaneously in the reference list as and numbered and listed everything. And the process goes on like accordingly with the rest of the references. So this is the way I use it. I apologize, there's like kind of hiccup in my application, but this is like the process I do when I add the citation in my document. Also, there is another way where we can cite, like we can manually add the numbers. For instance, like I can simply add just number 1 like that. And then make my list, add the list, like write the reference list down like at the end here. And then I can copy the citation from the document itself. So I hope you can see my windows. So do you see my windows? Like the internet one? Or
No, just the watch.
Okay, so allow me to stop sharing the screen and reshare it one more time. Okay, here it is. So we have multiple options. Like we can use to like we have already numbered it in the text, and then I can use to copy and paste it from the PubMed. I can choose the style, either AMA, APA, MLA, whatever works. Like we usually use the AMA for our publications, and simply copy it and add to the list. There's another way shared by our colleague Krupa. She taught me about it today. It just like simply we take the number, the DOI number, and add it to another website. It's also another citation machine or citation engine, and we copy paste the DOI and we decide our style, like the AMA or APA or Chicago manual or like whatever we prefer. And then we get the citation as well, and we can copy and paste that without we have to write each citation manually by ourselves. The difference is that we do the counting in text count referencing. We have to write the numbers ourselves, but the list, of course, we make it like a bulleted list or numbered list for the references for us to remain on track. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope this helps. And thank you, Hadil, again for your presentation. It was very helpful and eye-opener. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Sarah. This is very helpful and practical way to add citation. So anyone has any questions or addition? Lina, if you are ready, you can start.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? I actually have
Yeah, we can hear you.
fixed my phone network, but I'm trying to connect my laptop right now.
Okay.
Hopefully this time it will work out. I'm really sorry. It's beyond my control. Hopefully this.
Okay.
So even the
Lina.
I think my laptop is just crashing.
If you have problems sharing screen, you can present without it. I think if you prefer.
That would be great. I just restarted my laptop. Maybe it's just a problem.
Okay.
So let me start from what I memorized on my application. My presentation was supposed to be about skills for interviews and how to prepare for them. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. So the first thing is congratulations. You have received an email stating that you are invited for some sort of a program that you applied to. Celebrate, because you just achieved half the way in securing a residency by securing an interview. The main thing that you have to pay attention to is you have to set your email to refresh itself each and every half an hour during this critical period. So as soon as an email reaches your inbox, you will be notified. Once you open the email, there are different types of responding methods. Each program prefers different ones. They might ask you to go into your ERAS account and schedule an appointment. They might ask you to use an interview broker, which is a simple program that when you click on the link provided in your email, you will reach a new page giving you the open slot for your program, and you should be able to choose from them. The tricky part is that you have to keep an updated calendar with all your activities during this period of time. At any point you can't hear me, just let me know, because I know the internet might snip out at any point. So keep an updated calendar of all of your activities, all of your commitments with available time for you, and the time difference between the area that you, or the time zone difference between where you are currently available and where the program is located. Why? Because as soon as you open the interview broker or the ERAS account, you will be able to set a date quickly. Usually, programs state that they provide interview invitations for the amount of applicants that are willing to interview. But sometimes some programs don't do that. They actually invite more than the applicants that are capable of conducting an interview too. So you want to be first in booking a date. You want to be sure that you are not you don't have a conflict of dates between different interviews. So keep an updated calendar. be prepared, study your application in and out. You should be able to answer each and every question about your application. Everything you have written, you should know in and out. You should know if you have an application, you should know the results of the procedure that was taken to reach the result, your publication destination. Know your application very well, because they pursue each and every person providing a statement about your application, is that it might be something that you have just made up. Know a lot about where you are applying. So if you are invited for interview in program X, go to their website, learn more about the chairperson, learn more about the faculty member, learn more about the residents, where do they come from, maybe read the resume or bio if it's available on the website. Why? To set up a common ground that you can use during the interview session. So if your interviewer is a faculty member interested in, let's say, hiking, you should have a common ground with him if you are interested in hiking as well. Take that point into your advantage. Usually when they provide you with an invitation and you accept it, they provide you with an agenda. The agendas usually have a clear schedule of what you are going to have during your interview day. You are going to have an interview with faculty member X, faculty member Y, resident, shift resident W. Know them very well, know a lot about their background, learn about the website of the program, the department, maybe the fellows they provide. Why? For common ground to be secured and to not ask something that is already stated in their website. Ask questions. The second step. Know who are the residents or current residents of this program. If any of your relatives, close friends, circle of friends have interviewed before in this program, ask them. Ask them what the interview is like, what type of questions do they ask, what does this program prefer in their applicants. So to avoid surprises, you might figure out that they have a certain preference or a certain way in conducting interviews. So we will be prepared when it's your turn to have one. Finally, so can you see my screen or not?
No.
Hello, Lina. Can you send
Yeah.
your file to anyone so can share it for you? You can do that.
The problem is that the internet connection is
Lina, your screen is clear, but we can't hear your voice.
So can you hear me right now?
Yeah, yes.
I'm really sorry, guys. So I'll just pick up from where I stopped, respond as soon as possible, have a clear calendar of what you have, updated one, with all your appointments, your commitments, time schedule. Start practicing for your interview. Also, pay attention to the mistakes you do. Avoid the repetition of the word phrases. Maintain a good posture. This is a virtual interview, so do as much as possible with what's available. Sit in a straight way, keep a smiling face, fix your alignment with your camera, keep a good eye contact, be confident, try to maintain an engagement throughout your interview. One thing or tip that you might use is to record yourself while you are doing that. Practice doing a Zoom meeting with one of your friends. Keep a video record of how you look while you are interviewing. Pay attention to your own mistakes. Try to fix them each time and repeat the same process several times until you achieve a satisfaction. Something that's passed around about program, ask previous residents, someone who interviewed there before. Research the program in and out, their website, their faculty members, their chairperson, their current residents and previous residents. Have more information about the location of the program, the area surrounding it, maybe even the restaurant or the leisure areas, so you can incorporate that into your interview and discussion. Know a lot about your interview format. This should be provided in your interview agenda that will be sent to you after you successfully confirm the appointment. Dress to success. You should dress in a neutral color, nothing too shouty. Unless you want to be remembered for bright or colorful colors, then do so. Otherwise, plain colors, black, gray, dark navy blue or blue is suitable for an interview. Prepare for the questions or prepare to be questioned by the program. Most programs or most interviews will incorporate these questions into your interview day. Why you want this program? What will you add to our program? How will you handle problems? For instance, if a fellow resident is not fulfilling his or her duties, what will you do? Discuss your strengths, your weakness, and your hobbies. If you wrote you know how to draw or paint, you should know how to draw or paint. If you said you read books, you should be able to discuss a recent book you have read or came across. Rehearse, but do not sound rehearsed. Prepare an answer for all the previous questions, but do not make it a generic answer or something that you have memorized and you're just here to say. Try to be creative, try to be personalized in your answers, try to sound as if you are not doing this in an automatic way. You have to be or look and sound like someone who's engaging in the interview in and out. You should have a set of questions with specialty or questions that who are interviewing you. Take some questions for the chairperson, maybe ask him about availability of sources, future of the program, weakness and strength of the program. For the faculty members, ask them about what do they prefer in this program, or whatever you think that is relevant to their job description. For the residents, you might ask them about the working hours, the payment, the area, the availability of a certain type of copy you practice, some questions for each and everyone you encounter. It's not any must, but asking questions seems to give an impression that you are engaging in the interview and that you are prepared and that you are willing to know more about the interview, that you are not just here to deliver. No, you are here to engage. know your application in and out. You should know each and every detail about your application. There is no forgiveness in missing some parts of your application. Know the date, the results of your application, your hobbies in or out, your past achievements, your school degrees, and every information you have incorporated into your program. Finally, express gratitude. This should be delivered by simple thank you at the end of the program coordinator. For more, those who interview you, are they allowing you to contact them through an email, or they do not like that? So just follow the directions of the program coordinator. Thank you so much. I'm really sorry about the internet problems. I hope next time I will be able to fix it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask or print it in the chat box.
Thank you so much, Lina, for the great interview, for the great presentation. And if anyone has any question, there's a question from Selma regarding if there is no guidelines, how she can approach or she can execute the referencing. And thank you for Sumi. For Kruba, she replied, but I think usually the journal puts the guidelines, and if they always the journal puts the guidelines about the referencing, which style they prefer. I think so. Thank you. Any question? Any addition about interview skills or about the first part? Okay, so if there is no addition or questions, we can go for the third part of the meeting today about the discussion. I think about update about on current project. So if there's any update about the project, please feel free to add. Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
Thank you, Hadil and Lina, for your great presentations. Actually, I wanted to add a point about in terms for the interview preparation. An advice I had received from it's spreading online everywhere, but I thought it should be shared with everyone here. To prepare a list of about from 5 to 10, but I go for 5 skill lists, lists of skills that you want to promote for yourself during the interview. So for instance, if they ask you for what are your strengths, why should we hire you, why should we what any kind of questions, even if you for your closure statement during the interview. So you should be having a list of these 5 skills, 5 strength points you have that you'll be using all over the interview. And also there's another point has been highlighted, the point of consistency. We are all full of strengths as well as weaknesses, but during the interviews we usually tend to promote ourselves the multi-talented strong people. But when we remain consistent on our answers and our skills, it just adds a point, why does this person change their answers? Is there any kind of manipulation going on? So just these are the 2 pieces of advice I would like to share with everyone. Just we need to work on our list of strengths that we keep using throughout our interviews, and to remain consistent with our answers, even if it seems we are repeating the same answer from one interviewer to another, just like even if it's the same program, it's okay. It will seem awkward, but this is like the golden advice like I've learned recently. In terms for the like a project update, I think we are like for the healthy aging project, I think we'll be able, like we are now double checking that our manuscript meets the criteria for the journal. We are planning to submit it to the Journal of American Geriatric Society. Just we are double checking everything before we submit, and we plan to submit it inshallah by like within this weekend by maximum. Thanks all.
Very great. Thank you, Sarah, for the update and for the information. So, Dr. Abdel Mahmoud, do you have any question or addition?
Oh, yes, actually, this is just a kind of suggestion to Dr. Alina. I think it would be very helpful if she can share this as a PDF file. I think it is kind of great material, so any one of us can have it as a guidelines, you know, just follow and just make sure just have it all done. That would be great.
I'm more than welcome to share it. Actually, I'll just incorporate the notes I have into the presentation, and I will add it to the application, hopefully by today.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you so much, Lina and Abdel Mahmoud. Go ahead, Riam.
Yes,
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Hadil. Thank you, Lina, Sarah, for all the inputs for today. Very informative session today. I just want to add few points or thoughts about the interview from my past experience. So when you go to the interview, prepare for three things mainly that's going to happen in the interview. Basically, when you sit down in front of the interviewer, he wants to, if you can divide the interview into three parts, it's like this. He wants to see a goal-oriented person in front of them. So the first part or the first third, they want to know about your background. What have you done so far? And then after that, they're going to concentrate about what are you doing right now. So be prepared to be very frank about what you're doing right now. So for example, if you work full time, you'll tell them what kind of work you're doing right now. And if you're doing some other things like research, or you're studying, or you're doing school and all that, and be prepared also to be asked about some personal life and how do you balance between all that. And then some interviewers, they like to know what is your goal in the future. So they will ask you about where you see yourself in 5 years. So this is also important to tell them that you are goal oriented. After you do the residency, what are you going to do after that? So where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself continuing the same place, to be a hospitalist, having your own practice? All these things they're going to ask you. So it's really good to be prepared in this way, because this person in front of you, he wants to see if you actually match this program or no, or this program meets your needs. Does it fit into your personal goal? So you have to be very careful when you answer questions. One trick question can actually put you in or out the program, because they want to answer a question in their brain that do you fit this program, and if this program fits your goal, your personal goal. That's one thing. And also follow-up is important. If you feel that this is the program that you want to be, make sure you send the not only the thank you email. Some people also send a thank you card. Actually, they actually take the effort to go to the post office and make a card and send a thank you card, because this small thing might help, because if your card is sitting in front of the coordinator, this means a lot. So it might be a constant reminder that this person is actually interested in this program. So sending a personal card is important also. As far as the project going, the project is about the role of the activity staff in the nursing home during COVID. So we are now in the data collection. And so we contacted few, maybe 35 or more. We didn't submit all our submission. There's some calls, but we did not submit, so 35. So now we're getting a kind of a data analysis about the about the call that we did, and also Hadil is in charge of the writing. Right now, this is what we did already. So we have some data now, and we also started in the writing. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope this is a really successful, it's going to be a successful match season for everyone.
Thank you so much, for the update and for the great information and addition. Go ahead, Kruba.
So I would just like to add to the last point. So when it comes to follow-up emails, I know a lot of people end up rushing it. So it's really important to reread your content and make sure you show it else, just so you're not making it too personalized, or you don't have sentences that can be alarming, because they're going to have this information. It's going to be a written record. So content is appropriate. And then when it comes to preparing for the interview, we all have individual weaknesses, right? So whether it's low scores, whether you failed, whether you have gap years, or you're an older grad, more than 5 years. So all of these specific things, even before we get the interview, these should be thought of in a personal, thought of in an individual way. So address these things ahead of time. As for the project updates, we are working on the suicide abstracts. Homicide and drug use data is complete. I think there's another group working on homicide and races. It's not me, but I've been receiving emails about that. So, I think that needs clarification on who is doing that project, which is homicide and races. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kruba, for the update about the project and for the information about the interview skills. I have addition regarding the interview skills. Confidence cannot come overnight. Confidence comes with practice. So we need to practice. We need to practice in groups, and we need to practice with ourselves in front of a mirror to practice our smile, tone of voice, and everything. So good luck, everyone, with this interview season. In addition, any question? Do you have addition?
No, actually, I just forgot to unmute.
Okay. So anyone have any question, update, or addition? Dr. Nadir, do you want to comment about anything? Dr. Nadir, do you have any comment? I think he's busy today. Okay, Dr. Khalid, go ahead.
Yes, Hadil, thank you. Yes, Dr. Nadir apologized earlier. He said he will be attending a funeral and he will be in and out of the meeting. So I've also lost connection. The last presentation I didn't really attend it, so I'm not sure if we have finished the agenda for today's meeting or not. But yes, anyways, he told me about the next meeting agenda to share it with you.
Okay.
Yes, I'm just checking my email to make sure that I've read it correctly.
My addition for today's agenda, I think it is covered. There's update about the project from Kruba, and Sarah, and the 3 topics were covered. Maybe we need to cover the referencing part later in the future, but the main things were covered.
Yes, so he told me that next week he would like for one of us to present graphs and tables and research, which is graphical representation of of data, let's say. So he also mentioned that someone from the yellow team need to prepare the coming meeting.
So the
Yes.
moderator for
So, yes, I think he means, yeah, someone from the yellow team should present graphical representation of data in research.
Okay, so by graphical, you mean like tables and charts?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, no problem.
And
Is that
other, yes, and other graphs, of course, yeah.
okay? Alrighty. I'm leading the yellow team, so I will, try to see who can volunteer to do that. Is there anything else that we need to cover for that day?
He just mentioned that, but we could go to the app and check the agenda there also.
Okay.
Dr. Khalid, I can show you the app. This is the agenda for the next meeting from the app. So he emphasized on the same thing here, or he added something more or something. Or is it the same thing that they should work on them for the next meeting, or anything else?
Yes, I think what he meant is the agenda, the number 2, which is basic tables in a paper. I think he means that, which is graphical representation of data.
Okay.
So yeah, I think he meant it in a broader way, not just tables, graphs, forest plots, and many other types of graphs. So to be put in one presentation, and someone from the other team should present it. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So, anyone has any addition or question? In this case, I think we can end the meeting.
Yes. Sorry. Maybe I have a question if you can allow it. My question is regarding the personal statement. I know some of you have some experience writing personal statements for different applications, or maybe some of you applied to the residency before. So I just wanted to know your experience in doing that, because it's been really difficult for me to write something personal to someone I don't know. So it's really hard also to keep a balance between it being personal, but also remaining professional. I don't know. It's hard to keep a balance between these two things. So I just want to know your ideas regarding this.
Okay.
I would like to add, I wanted to add 2 points. I will answer Khalid's question, but I have a suggestion for the future meetings. So I think most of the I think most of the feedbacks I've received or shared online, they wanted to be in a sort of the story, in a storytelling, what's the most what's the most important moment in your life what was the most important moment in your life that made you decide to pursue medicine. This is the case for medical students, but I, for myself, as an old grad, I decided to skip this part because I'm already graduating almost so many years. So I wanted to skip this part. I said I like this specialty, but what made me want to practice medicine in the United States, what made me move to the United States rather than praising medicine and praising the medical education and stuff like that. Just I want this specialty, and I moved this country to the States for this reason. And I reflected through my experiences, as my practice in my home country, the values that they find in a good physician. For instance, compassionate care, negotiation skills, communication skills, the understanding, like teamwork, communicating with, like, and not teamwork just like as a broad term, like, no, described in smaller terms, like I can communicate very well with my colleagues who are my peers, my seniors, the patients and their families, regardless of their backgrounds, and also the ancillary team, like the social worker, the nutritionist, the nurse, the technician, if I meet them, like if they are involved in the teamwork, okay, in the for care of the patient, I need to say that I can communicate with them very well. And as well, we need, in the first statement, we need to add, as international medical graduates, we need to add the point of cultural competency. We come from a different background, so we're flexible, and we have been living in the States, or we know how the healthcare system works, but we can communicate with different people at ease, with different backgrounds, from different cultures. I think these are the points in the personal statement, like we need to highlight. My advice also, like, try to make it like around 700 words as well. For the future meetings, I just a raw idea. I hope that, like, if we can vote about it. How about, like, since we are approaching the interview season, why don't we like assign like a couple of questions, a couple of the most common interview questions, and we like help each other to like frame what's the most appropriate answer interview, rather than like just mumbling and everybody just like trying to guess, like while preparing, while rehearsing, and we're not sure of ourselves during the interviews. So this is just a suggestion. I hope like everybody votes about it, like with or against. And thanks all, and all the best for everyone. I hope we all match this year. Thanks all.
Very great suggestion, Sarah. Thank you for it. I think, yeah. So Selma, do you have any addition or?
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to add on to Hadil's point for Khalid's question. Basically, you have to have a story, and it has to be a personalized story. Let's say you're applying for family medicine. You know, you can personalize it in the sense of, when I was working, when I was doing my internship, I had to travel from, let's say, the capital to the rural towns, and I got to work with a bit of gynecology. I, got to work with this and this. And so fast forward a couple of years later, I liked the different exposure. So you have to somehow, or for example, I grew up traveling a lot and, learning about different cultures and languages. And so this has made it easy for me to ease into family medicine, for example. So always, you have to, first of all, sit with yourself, find a story, find your personal sort of journey and where it pivots, and then make it into a story. And I think that's what they want to know, instead of the whole, cliche, I am hardworking, I can do this, I am great and independent and teamwork, So you just find a story and then build on it. And that's why they usually tell you to start really early on and keep adding and, amending parts to it until it's perfected. Always have someone read it with you, someone close, or, like a mentor or advisor, just so you can have a different opinion on what needs to be fixed and added and so on and so forth. That's regarding the personal statement. I also like Hadil's suggestion of getting together, and practicing. In the meantime, try to practice in the mirror. You have to know how you look, how you smile, and some people have some unconscious things that they do, like look to the side or look down or smirk or, play with their hands. So these are things you need to be aware of, and practicing beforehand always helps. And then it's always good to hear yourself, like I know myself, I say in between every two words, so you need to have someone be there to practice with, just so how you're going to sound to the interviewers, what to avoid. And so practice is key. So I'm very much on board with the idea of practicing. And I think we should somehow find a way to, work on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Salma. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Mohammed Tijani.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum everybody, and thank you, Dr. Hadil, Khalid, Dr. Sarah, and whoever who else participated for this very nice meeting today. I just want to share a link for an editor that a friend of mine referred me to, and he used it last year. They're not going to write your personal statement, but they will they kind of just review it and find any kind of area of weakness. They give you certain recommendations. It's kind of affordable, so I thought maybe just sharing this because as we all understand, grammatical mistakes or these kind of errors that will kill your entire application from the very first second. So just would like to share this link, add it to the chat. If anybody see it kind of useful, feel free to use it. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed, for the link and for the suggestion. I hope it will be helpful. Melas, go ahead.
Hello, Hadil and everyone. Hope you are all doing fine. I have a question also about a personal statement. My personal statement, I'm talking about my clinical experience, mainly as I'm working in ICU. I work resident, I work in Sudan, I work in Saudi Arabia. I found myself, through all the personal statement, I'm telling the story of my ICU experience and how it impacted my life and how it's changing me and like this. And I jump to another experience, which is my research experience. So overall, I'm telling a story of clinical experience and research experience. Someone is telling you are just copying your CV, but I'm not sure. Can I use my personal clinical experience in the personal statement in this extensive way, or what should I do? And I'm stuck in sending my personal statement to another person's. So I'm keep editing every maybe 1 or 2 days. So I'm stuck here. If anyone can help me.
Okay.
Yes, I can help a little bit with this. Malaz,
yes.
I understand what you're saying, that when you write down, I did this, I did that, I did this, looks like you are just narrating your CV. So I want to add this thing. The personal statement, like why they're asking for the personal statement, especially here. Because my girls now, they're approaching the college and they're so worried about the essay. So this is something that is here in the American culture, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. This is this writing skills is engraved from schools. Okay, so everybody needs to know how to write a story about themselves. This is not something that suddenly they do in when you go to medical college. This is they do it at schools, and when they apply for college, they have an essay. They have to tell the story about themselves, and then finally in medical school they do the personal statement. So constantly you need to know how to write about yourself or about basically anything, like how to tell a story, and how to narrate, like how to make this thing. So for you in the for the ICU, since you this is what you're basically maybe this is your passion. You like to be in the ICU. So when you write in the ICU, don't say I was in the ICU. No, find a case that actually stuck in your mind, a specific person, a specific case, and try to, this is the seed, or this is what you're going to write your personal statement on. You have to be the specific case that you're going to say something, say some very small details, make your personal statement catchy, so the person who is reading it wants to continue reading it. So you have to tell this story. For example, just find a case and talk about the case in a personal way, like how this case touched you. What did you do to save this person's life, for example? What's the interaction between you and the family, for example. Make it like it's actually you are writing a scenario, actually really a scenario about a movie or a dramatic something. This is how a personal statement, make it personal. So the person who is reading this, he's gonna say, no, I want to know about this story. What happened next, you know? And then after that, he wants to meet you, to see what, to interact with you and see who's this person that was in the ICU, was involved in somebody else's life, and basically, you know, change their life, for example. Or the person in the ICU change your life, how this event changed your life. So if you understand what I'm saying, it's not something like, this is not mechanical. This is have to be your person. Nobody else can choose and take this personal statement and put it in their CV, because this is so personalized to you. This is so personalized to you. The other way is also read other personal statement. Read as much as you can. See how people use their personal experience in either in life or in the hospital to write about themselves. So the more you read other, editing is good. What you're doing is good. Editing frequently is good. But the more you read other people's personal statements, and try to read a personal statement wrote by American, like because that's what they're expecting, to write in the same style. So don't take personal statement from other colleagues. That's nice, but find in the internet or the forums or the USMLE forum anything that actually personal statement wrote by people who were English speaking, or basically American like, you know, applying to medical school. So you understand what they mean, like what they expect in the personal statement. Read more than you edit. And then after you formulate the story or the scenario that you're going to do, then start editing it. Inshallah, this will help you that like maybe get to the point of this, inshallah.
Thank you.
This is very helpful. Thank you very much.
So going to the personal statement, I think like the majority of us are probably going to lean towards writing about a clinical experience and like how that experience inspired us, or, you know, that kind of a take is what we're going to do with the personal statement. But I think the main goal is that the person reading your personal statement should know about you. Like, don't get so caught up in the clinical experience and I did this for the patient and I did that, but it should really be a story about you, and they should want to meet you, not like learn about that specific experience. So don't forget that at the end of the personal statement, it should be telling a story about you. The other take is sometimes people take like family hardships. It doesn't always have to be a clinical thing, because I think that they know that, you know, you worked in hospitals, you worked in different countries, and you've gained that experience, which is already written. But maybe you experienced something in your family. Maybe you personally had your own health struggle, or like it can be very unique. But I think the personal statement at the end of the day should make you stand out, and it should tell a story about you, not about the clinical experience, but it should really be something that makes you shine as a character. So that's something to think about, because I have read like friends' personal statements, and a lot of them sometimes just tell about a patient experience and how they did specific things for the patient. And that might talk about the knowledge, about like your medical knowledge, but I think that's already evident because you've taken these exams, you've passed, you have gained a lot of clinical experience. So I don't think that they want to know about your medical knowledge per se, but they actually want to know about you as a person. Are you resilient? Are you like, you know, genuine and honest and hardworking? Like all of those traits shouldn't be said directly, but like somehow should shine, like come out from that story. So I think that's really important to remember. And like, even with personal statements, sometimes we start writing and it becomes like a page and a half. And I've heard that you should always keep it under a page. Like no matter what you do, it should be under a page, because they go through so many of these, you know, personal statements, and sometimes they only read it prior to your interview. So you don't want to have it be too wordy. It should be something that's interesting, but under a page. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuba. I can just add, Malaz, it should reflect your passion and it should reflect what you learn from your experience. For example, I can say for like a phrase or something. I learned leadership skills while I was working in this place or that place or in the emergency medicine. So it is not about your CV, but you can mention your working experience in the context of what you learn from them. Of course, it's only 1 page or 1 page and a half, so you cannot write your whole CV or what you learn from every working experience. But if you mention working experience, and probably you should mention, but the mentioning should be in the context of what you have learned, what's the additions that change you. Like, I learned leadership skills here, I learned this from here, I learned how to work in a team in this place, something like that, I think. So, Hamad Tijani, can you go ahead?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity again. Just want to add my voice to what Dr. Sarah mentioned earlier of creating some kind of a part of a session to go over certain interview questions, list of questions. At least we can prepare all together, or one can prepare, and then we can discuss it in details. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Khalid.
Yes, thank you all. Really, it's been really informative to hear about your opinions regarding personal statements. I just wanted to remind you a supplemental application for internal medicine applicants this season. One of the questions in the supplemental application is your most valuable, let's say, experiences. So we are going to describe it. And also in the ERAS application, you are going to write a description of your work experience. So I think work experience has no place in your personal statement because it's going to be very repetitive. And what I know is that it is a personal statement. It's not a cover letter. So you're not going to write about how good you are, or in clinical settings, or your past experiences as a clinician. You're going to write who you are as a person, because it is essentially a personal statement. But thank you all. It's been really been a very engaging discussion. I wanted to say a final thing, which is I think some people tend to talk about the specialty. For example, if you are applying to internal medicine, then you tend to talk about how wonderful and great internal medicine is. I think this is also not a very good way to address your personal statement, because the person reading it is already an attendant in internal medicine. So you're basically telling him how amazing is internal medicine, and it seems kind of condescending. So talk about, I think we should talk about ourselves and not the specialty. Of course, we can mention why we want this specialty, but not to make all the statement about how wonderful the specialty is.
So you mean to personalize the patient statement according to the specialty, right?
No, I mean that you're going to talk about yourself. I'm finding it really difficult up until now, but of course you can mention why do you like the specialty. Of course you can mention maybe a sentence about the specialty, but some people tend to talk a lot about it. They keep mentioning how internal medicine, for example, is wonderful, how it gives an opportunity for you to connect with patients. The person reading your personal statement already knows that. So it seems like you're telling someone who is, more of an expert than you in their field about their field. So it seems, kind of condescending. I've heard this from a program director. That's why and it makes sense. So that's why I just wanted to share it with you.
Okay, thank you. So Malaz, do you have other addition? Malaz, you are raising your hand. I think she forgot your. Okay.
It was from before.
Okay, go ahead, Sama.
Oh, I think I already put it. Did I think I lowered my hand. Yeah, I already wrote it. It was for Mila's and personal statement.
Thank you. So, anyone has any question or addition? So, I think Dr. Nader is busy with the funerals. So, if anyone, if there is no more suggestion or questions, I think we can end the meeting. Dr. Khalid, do you have any idea about how to, like, I think he's Dr. Nader as a host is the only one who can end the meeting, right?
No, it's okay. I think we can just leave the meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So good luck,
The
everyone.
broadcasting we're gonna continue on YouTube. If somebody can just text Dr. Nader to end the meeting, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Malad, do you have something?
Yes, Habil. Sorry. I just want to reply for Khalid because regarding no way to talk about your clinical experience in your personal statement. I address it from the way, not how I'm expert am I in my field, but how it changed my personality or how it added to my personality. As I'm working in ICU, in COVID pandemic, in more area and like this. So I'm not talking as I'm very expert in my field and like this. Just I talk from the point that how it impacted my personality and how it added to my passion regarding critical care, medicine, internal medicine, and like this. So I did not use it as, okay, I'm expert in this, I'm very well doing this. No, just how it changed my personality. So for me, I think if anyone have something like this, it can be addressed in the personal statement. So I'm not sure about the others, but in the last few days, I was confused because a lot of people, they are telling same, don't use clinical experience, but it was really personalized because it really impacted my personality. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I think everyone like added to the answer for your question, but I look for person statement like a component, like you have a component of about what attracts you to this specialty from the start. For example, if you are applying for internal medicine, so you need like to a few sentences or one sentence or two sentences about what do you think about internal medicine, and then you should talk about your personality and in the light of your experience, like what you learn or what added to your personality or what added to your work ethics from a special experience. Not need to mention, like you don't need to mention your whole experiences, just the ones that affected you so much. And among this, you can like formalize, like put it in a form of a story, or yeah, you can put a story, but in this context, like you learn from this experience, this and that. And I think you need to add a sentences about what you want from a program in internal medicine, what you are looking for, how you need to improve your academic skills, clinical skills, how you are eager to learn from the programs that you will be involved with. So I think this is the main content of the personal statement. Your interest in the field, your experience, the most important experience that affected you, and then what you want from the program. I think this is the main things. Okay. If there is nothing else, so I can say goodbye for everyone and for meeting you in the next week. Bye.
Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Hadil.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Hadil. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Hadil. Great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great leading skills, Hadil. Yeah.
Thank you so much.